Good morning and welcome back to the History of Glory podcast. We're your hosts, Christian Dees.
And Janelle Navarrete.
Explore the depths of history while uncovering the truth behind the happy faces of the public. Today's topic circles around the idea of the 1700s Industrial Revolution and its impacts it has had on from now to almost 300 years ago.
Yeah, so the first Industrial Revolution has had many benefits for the economy, specifically in the United States during the mid-1800s, through contributing on to the kickoff of many economical uprisings, including the agricultural revolution and the advances within the textile industry.
Yeah, and just with these developments were born, there's always been a constant evolution and expansion of these ideas over time. This is seen in multiple machines, such as the cotton gin, which was essentially an engine that helped define the idea of the Industrial Revolution, through it encouraging the usage of machines over manual labor to ensure mass production. The cotton gin is still used today, but only at much larger scales to support the large international demand for it.
Exactly, and what's important to note is that while Europe was mainly the first to begin the Industrial Revolution, it quickly spread to the US, and they had gotten more land and decided to urbanize most rural areas. This was mainly due to building houses to compensate for the large population that had been growing as more Europeans emigrated for the purpose of a larger economic opportunity. This is one of the issues that helped spark the first Industrial Revolution, as more people created a larger demand. With more product demand and the access to each other for more entrepreneurs to no longer solely rely on their own farm and brick motor stores, but instead create factories and inventions that supplied more jobs while maintaining the goal of mass production to satisfy the growing demand.
Just as more people contributed to the need for more production, so did the wars and battles that were occurring throughout this revolution, as more weapons, clothing, and transportation became needed. Also, as entrepreneurs created their own businesses, more simple and less educated citizens found themselves in the need of a job, so the idea of factory systems supplied thousands of jobs to many Americans. Now, although these seem very beneficial to everyone within the economy, they became a very controversial topic through the harsh conditions that these workers went through. This because in order for these businesses to stay afloat and maintain a steady flow of profit, it required less care toward the workers and the safety measures such as fixing machines, as it became very expensive. This contributed to the large protests that has taken place over the years, such as during 1812 of the violent outbreak that occurred outside of George Ball's textile workshop. Although in England, this event had a ripple effect on many other protests throughout America. The protests were mainly due to unfair work environments and the employers who saw opportunities to lower workers' wages. The issue is that when the workers demand a higher wage, the active inflation occurs. This is seen as minimum wage rises exponentially, then the cost of most products from businesses rise to match the new wage. So the new minimum wage becomes the same value, if not less, than the old one.
Wow, it seems there's actually a lot of hidden controversy behind the Industrial Revolution. Thank you, Christian, and our listeners. We're going to take a quick break for our sponsors, and we'll return to discuss what else the public really thought about these life-changing events they took part in.
The new gravitational vehicle leaves combustion engines in the past while maintaining an all-new safety system. Utilizing the recently discovered element, Gravitonium, it controls the gravitational state of the vehicle when on impact. This is the all-new 2022 Graviton Equestrian. If you're thinking about taking the tribe across country, this is the automobile you should be using. People tend to confuse the words new and improved, but not with the groundbreaking and original Graviton Equestrian.
Welcome back. Now, as the United States heavily promoted the idea of a free market with little to no government interference, the success of the Industrial Revolution was contingent on maintaining the capitalist economy. It also became dependent on what the public needs or wants. If the demand for cotton is no longer needed, then the cotton gin becomes almost useless to most businesses, and a new invention must be created to satisfy the new manufacturing. With more advancements being created, most people saw it as a destined natural order of things, as life has mostly included the introduction of large improvements to their way of living. Due to the world around them constantly changing for the better, at least for most of them, the Industrial Revolution was perceived as a good thing.
Yeah, and although the public saw it good during the beginning, as demand was supplied and the quality of living got better, There was still riots caused, people being harshly treated, child labor, and the beginning of one of the new modern day biggest concerns, pollution. Pollution, specifically carbon dioxide or CO2 emissions, is one major issue that the world faces today, with gases being trapped in the atmosphere, causing the Earth's weather patterns to change. According to the EPA, the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the primary cause for global warming has been due to the last 50 years, but it can also be traced back to the late 1700s with a continual increase in greenhouse gas concentrations. This is no coincidence that the first major impacts on the Earth due to pollution was during the same time of the first Industrial Revolution, which further portrays the economical and environmental significance the revolution has had on the world.
With many cons comes many pros. And with the Industrial Revolution, it certainly has impacted the world not just from the 1800s, but till modern day, to as the simplest inventions to the most complex ones are constantly seen throughout our daily lives, such as the steam engine used to power steamships and that carry goods across countries. So it really creates a chain reaction of impacts across the world.
Overall, the Industrial Revolution was very beneficial to the country through supplying many economic opportunities, including jobs, contributing towards the free market with its supply and demand of mass production, and to many technological advancements.
Thank you to everyone for tuning in to today's podcast, and we hope to see you in the next History of Glory.